Join Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio, the host of Only the Best for You. Be a changemaker and unlock the secret to your best life.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here again with you today. My name is Carol Davies, and I'm from Passion Motivator Coaching. I'm pleased to be presenting my series on Only the Best for You, where I will be sharing various steps to becoming a change maker, being the best you can be, and developing the finest life for yourself. Today, I'd like to speak about how you can change your attitude and change your life. Is there something about your life that you need to or would like to change? Most people want to make some kind of positive changes in their life, but aren't quite sure how to begin the change process. Lots of us are trapped in negative thinking that produces fear, failure, and unhappiness. Though we may long for greater achievements, better relationships, and happier lives, we're mired in a spiral of negative thinking, complaining, and self-fulfilling prophecies. Sadly, many of us give up even wishing for change and settle for a life that's boring and unfulfilling. If that describes you, I have great news. It doesn't have to be that way. The secret to a happier and more successful life is not to change your circumstances. Often you can't, or to control what others do. You never can. It's to change the one thing over which you have absolute authority, your attitude. It's been proven time and again that people with a positive outlook are happier and more successful, and have greater career satisfaction and a better self-image. The reason for this is simple. Your attitude has incredible power to shape your life. Negative thinkers see negativity, think negative thoughts, and develop negative habits. Not surprisingly, they often feel worse about themselves, enjoy less success, and experience less joy in life. Positive thinkers, on the other hand, see possibilities, choose to pursue them, and more easily bounce back from failure. They have more energy and hope and encounter more opportunities. Both types of thinkers live in the same world, but those who have a positive attitude leverage a power that enables them to move through life with greater joy and satisfaction. Here's one thing which is worth thinking about. A positive attitude brings positive results. Though the correlation between positive thinking and positive results has been observed for centuries, there was a sociologist called Robert K. Merton who formalized an idea of positive attitude, and he came up with the term self-fulfilling prophecy. He wrote, "A self-fulfilling prophecy is, in the beginning, a false definition of the situation, evoking a new behavior, which makes the original false conception come true." No doubt you've experienced this before or seen it in action. Here's a little story that can illustrate this. Let's say there's a rookie basketball player unexpectedly gets to start in a big game. And it's with seconds left on the clock, he goes to the foul line for what could be the game-winning shot. His knees are trembling. His hands are shaking. There's no way he can possibly calm down enough to sink the basket. So the coach wisely calls a timeout and calls the boy over. And placing a hand on his shoulder, he says, "You've got this. You're going to sink the shot and win this game. There's nobody I'd rather have on the line at the moment than you. So the boy's face brightens, and he returns to the foul line with newfound confidence. Then, without hesitation, he shoots, scores, and the game's over. That's the power of a self-fulfilling prophecy. It takes a once false definition of a situation and makes it true. What Robert Merton identified as nothing more than the power of positive thinking. The young boy in the story I just told you could have had a very negative output from thinking, oh, it's the end of the game and I've never done this before. His coach got him thinking positively, and the boy believed implicitly what his coach said, and it made all the difference. So likewise, for us, by thinking optimistically and by choosing a positive attitude in every situation, we can unleash a power in our lives. We influence ourselves and others in constructive ways. And as a result, we shape our reality by the thoughts we think. A positive attitude creates a positive identity. There's a well-known story about the great British architect Christopher Wren, which tells of a time he was supervising the construction of a grand cathedral in London. A newspaper reporter decided to interview some of the workers who were constructing the wonderful building, and he chose 3 men to speak with. He asked the first man, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "I'm cutting stone for 10 shillings a day." Then he asked the next man, "What are you doing here?" And that man answered, "I'm putting in 10 hours a day on this job." And then the third man said to the same question, "I'm helping Sir Christopher Wren construct one of London's greatest cathedrals." There's 3 different responses to the same question. The last man chose a very positive attitude. So when you choose a positive attitude, you create a positive identity for yourself. So are you someone who has very little responsibility if you're in a job you don't like too much? Or are you a trusted assistant? Are you an overwhelmed single mother? Or are you a strong, empowered woman? Are you a defeated business person who can't seem to get a break? Or are you an energetic, innovative entrepreneur closing in on success? The answer is up to you. It lies completely within your power to define your identity. You are what you think you are, and you can become whatever you believe you can be. Additionally, a positive attitude improves your health. It's well known that there is a strong connection between the mind and the body. This is fundamental to understand how our thoughts affect our bodies and our actions. When you adopt a positive attitude towards life, you'll have a positive impact on your health. But you don't have to take my word for that. I was quite struck by a study that was done recently by a team of researchers who studied more than 5,000 workers, and they concluded that people with a highly optimistic life orientation experience have daily events happen in a more positive way, and they expect more positive outcomes than pessimists. They noted that highly optimistic individuals appear to attract supportive social relationships, use adaptive coping strategies, and have different health habits than pessimists. That research study suggests that a positive outlook reduces the health problems and risks if you experience a negative life event, and it promotes faster recovery. You really aren't imagining it. When you think more positively, you actually do feel better. And, interestingly enough, a positive attitude creates possibilities. Here's a story of a man who attended a school hockey game one afternoon and watched the children shooting the puck. He asked a boy in one team's area what the score was. 12-0, the boy said. They're winning. Gosh, said the man, I bet you're discouraged. The boy looked puzzled. Why should I be, he said. We still have the last period to play. So he was still in possibility thinking. When you believe you're defeated, you almost certainly will be. But when you believe that anything is possible, something probably will be. It would be interesting to know what the outcome of that game was. Opportunities come to the person who looks for them, who believes that no situation is hopeless, and that some good result is bound to occur. When you adopt a positive outlook, you create your own possibilities. This exciting concept was said in a statement which has been attributed to the great Indian leader Mahatma Gandhi. He said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. So if I keep on saying to myself that I cannot do a certain thing, it's possible that I may end up by not really being able to do it. However, if I strongly believe that I can do it, I will be able to accomplish the deed or task, even if I may not have been able to do it at the beginning. When you believe in possibilities, you'll begin to see them everywhere. So, by adopting a positive outlook, you actually change your future. Things become possible for you that wouldn't have been otherwise. Your positive thinking shapes your world for the better. And another very interesting thought, a positive attitude wins friends. Now, isn't this something interesting? I mentioned that study a couple of minutes ago about the 5,000 people. And the researchers in that study noted that the optimistic people attract supporting social networks. That's scientific proof that happy people more easily win friends and influence people, as if we needed proof of that. Intuitively, we know that this is true. And it's vitally important for creating a positive future because we all need friends, associates, and teammates in order to achieve our goals and live a happy, productive life. When you adopt a positive attitude, you'll begin to gather like-minded people around you. You'll find yourself surrounded by positive thinkers, doers, and high achievers, and they'll inspire, encourage, and help you, both with the problems you may face in life and with the dreams you hope to fulfill. Adopting a positive attitude is the first step to building the momentum you need to move into the future you would like to create for yourself. So all this is very interesting, but what does it have to do with you and your life? Well, I'd like to suggest some simple ways you can get started with developing the positive attitude to create change in your own life. As I mentioned before, there are a lot of benefits to choosing a positive attitude. But how do you do that? If you're like I was during my early years, weighed down by life and often feeling despondent, finding a silver lining might seem like wishful thinking. Let me assure you that it isn't. Here are some practical first steps toward moving yourself from the negative column to a positive outlook. One is very, very important is to recognize negative thinking. Start and recognize negative thinking in yourself. This can be difficult to do because negative thinking can be almost automatic because it's become hardwired in your brain. With different experiences you've had through life, you may not realize it, but you filter everything you see and hear through a grid of negativity. To help you recognize that, here are 2 simple things you can do. First, ask for outside help. Find someone you trust, someone who'll tell you the truth, to assess your attitude. You may need to give this person permission to be completely open with you because they might fear offending you or upsetting you. But if you really want to know where negative thinking affects your outlook on life, you're thinking about the future, your relationships, or any other area, you'll need someone to hold up the mirror, so to speak, and let you see yourself clearly. Find someone you trust and ask them, would you say I'm an optimist or a pessimist? Where do you see negative thinking in my life? And listen to what they say. Then make a searching self-appraisal of your own thoughts. This may be easier to do once you've gotten some clues to your thinking from an objective friend. It'd be a good idea to write these ideas down. And you might find it helpful to block out some time for this, an hour or even a few hours. Think specifically about these areas of life. Your reactions to stressful situations, your tolerance for change, your willingness to take risks, your feelings about meeting new people, your self-image, your patterns of speech, and your first reactions to news or announcements. Briefly write an assessment of your current outlook on life. Note where it's positive, and be completely honest with yourself about the areas in which you're subject to negative thinking. Don't try to explain or justify your reactions. Remember, nobody's accusing you of anything, so there's no need to be defensive about how you feel or how you look at life. Simply state reality. If you're able to recognize negativity in your thinking, you'll be able to deal with it. If you're not willing or unable to see when and how you think negatively, you likely won't ever change. And when you do this exercise, it's only between you and yourself. Only you will see it. And if you get some good ideas from it, you can then decide to do something. And that leads into the next point. Resolve to take action. Once you've figured out what some of your negative patterns of thinking are, it would be a great idea to try to change some of them into more positive. That can be harder than you think, because sometimes negative thinking can feel like a warm blanket. It's safe and familiar. It seems comforting to believe that your life isn't changing, because that's just the way it is. Those negative thoughts can be all the excuse you need to remain passive. That's why making the resolve to change is a necessary first step toward improving your outlook. Do you want to have a positive attitude? Then resolve to do whatever it takes to make that change. For now, You can begin to shape your outlook by displacing negative thoughts with positive ones. When you discover yourself defaulting to negative thinking, immediately replace the negative thought with a positive one. Here are some examples. I might think, it'll probably rain. Now that is negative. Here's what you could say differently. You might say, it might not rain. Here's another negative thought. Nobody ever wins. Here's a more positive spin. Somebody has to win those things. Why not me? Here's another example. She'll probably say no. Well, here is something more positive. You could say, she might say yes. And here's one we've all been guilty of, saying, I don't think I can. Well, how about saying, I'll give it a try? So essentially what you're doing is replacing a negative with a positive. Does that sound too simple? It really isn't. Because replacing negative thoughts with positive ones, even small ways, is a solid first step to transforming your outlook on life. Try it and see. And the next step is get some accountability. You can't necessarily do these changes alone. That's not negative thinking. It's just a fact. Making positive changes in our lives takes a network of support and friends. If you hope to harness the power of a positive attitude in your life, you'll need a support team. Begin by asking the people closest to you to keep you accountable for changing your attitude. Simply tell a few chosen people, I'm trying to change the way I look at life, and I really want to eliminate negative thinking. Please let me know whenever you see or hear a negative attitude from me. I'd really appreciate it. Then be open to their feedback. This, perhaps more than anything else, will help you recognize patterns of negative thought and root them out. Find at least one friend or relative who will help you change your future by changing the way you think. So today we've had a good exploration of some of the ways you can start to make changes in your life. Just take one step and get into action. You don't have to change your life all at once. Commit yourself to change. No matter where you are with your New Year's resolutions, it's never too late to make a change. It's been wonderful for me to share these positive suggestions with you today. I'd love to hear from you if you have questions or if I could help you in any way. I also have a free report on how to cultivate positive change in your life. I could send that to you if you contact me by email at coachcaroldavies@gmail.com. That's COACHCAROL, D like David, A like Victor, IES @gmail.com, or through my website contact form at my website www.thepassionmotivator.com. That's www.THEPASS like Sam, ION like Norman, MOT like Tom, IV Victor, ATOR.com. Have a wonderfully positive week. Bye now.
Tune in every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for Only the Best for You with Carol Davies on Global Voice Radio.